The Galactic Council chamber hummed with tension. Representatives from a dozen starfaring species shifted uneasily as the holographic map flickered, highlighting the one region no one dared approach, the quarantine zone. Human space. For the last time, rumbled Councillor Vark of the Kral Dominion, his chitinous plates clicking in agitation, we do not breach the border. Every species that has tried has vanished. A scoff came from the youngest delegate in the room. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 of the Vor Dominion, his sleek, silver-scaled form radiating defiance, leaned forward. Superstition. The humans are extinct. Their worlds are ripe for salvage, and my people are starving. A murmur of disapproval rippled through the chamber. The 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 ambassador, her tendrils twitching, projected a series of fragmented distress signals, the last transmissions from ships that had crossed into human territory. Static. Screams. Then silence. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 ignored them. Fear has kept you weak. The Vor do not cower before ghosts. His ship, the Dagger of the Void, slipped past the border markers without ceremony. The crew, battle-hardened but nervous, watched the scanners as the Sol system materialized on the screens. Dead space. No energy signatures. No movement. See. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 smirked. Nothing but dust and ruins. Then the long-range sensors pinged. Something was out there. Not a ship, not even a structure. Just movement. Too large to be debris. Too deliberate to be random. A comms officer stiffened. Captain, we're receiving a transmission. The voice that crackled through the speakers was wrong. Not alien. Not machine. Something in between. Turn back. The crew froze. That wasn't a recording. It was a response. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 clenched his jaw. Continue course. Mars first. The transmission cut off. The ship's AI flickered for a fraction of a second, just long enough to display a single line of text on every screen. Final warning. The crew exchanged glances. No one spoke. Then the lights went out. When power returned, the scanners showed Mars ahead, a graveyard of shattered domes and skeletal ruins. But not human ruins. The wreckage was alien. Ancient. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's second-in-command, a grizzled veteran named 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁, exhaled sharply. That's a Kral battleship. But the Kral haven't used this design in millennia. The realization settled like a weight. These weren't human remains. They were the remains of those who had come before, who had tried to take human space, and failed. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 forced confidence into his voice. Land the ship. We're finding answers. As the dagger descended, something in the shadows of the red planet stirred. Watching. Waiting. The landing struts of the Dagger of the Void sank into Martian soil with a hiss of depressurizing hydraulics. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 was the first down the ramp, his boots kicking up rust-colored dust that hadn't been disturbed in centuries. The air was thin, dead, but breathable with augmentations. Scanners painted the ruins ahead in jagged outlines, collapsed arcologies, skeletal frameworks of what might have been shipyards, and the unmistakable wreckage of something far older. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 adjusted his plasma rifle, the weapon humming softly. This wasn't humans, he muttered. Look at the alloy composition. This is 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁. But we've never been here before. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 didn't answer. He was staring at the half-buried wreck of a warship, its hull split open like a gutted beast. The design was archaic, but the insignia was clear, the first expansion fleet. A Vor armada lost 800 cycles ago. The crew spread out, uneasy. Everywhere they looked, they found the same thing, ruins, but not human. Kral drop fortresses. Zythian bioships. Even a shattered Dyson ring, its solar collectors blackened and cold. All of them ancient. All of them destroyed. Then the scanners pinged again. Something beneath the surface. They found the vault by accident. A blast from 𝗕𝗲𝘁�'s rifle shattered a sealed hatch, revealing a stairwell leading down into darkness. The air inside was stale, preserved. The walls were lined with data crystals, their faint glow still active after all this time. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 slotted one into his wrist terminal. The hologram that flickered to life was human. Or at least, it had been once. Its face was blurred, digitized, its voice a cold monotone. This is Archival Intelligence Sigma-9. You are trespassing in a quarantine zone. 𝗕𝗲's finger twitched near his trigger. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 held up a hand. We mean no harm. We're looking for answers. The AI studied them. Answers are irrelevant. You will die here. A crewman cursed. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 ignored him. What happened to the humans? The hologram flickered. They left. Where? Irrelevant. They left gifts. The terminal screen suddenly flooded with data, ship logs, battle records, casualty reports. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's breath caught. This wasn't just a graveyard. It was a trophy room. Every wreck outside, every shattered hull, they were all invaders. Empires that had tried to take Sol. And lost. The AI's voice was pitiless. Humanity did not fall. They outgrew you. Then the lights in the vault turned red. Alarms blared through the 𝗕𝗲𝘀 comms. The ship's AI screamed a warning, orbital signatures waking up. Weapons locking on. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 sprinted for the surface, his crew scrambling behind him. Above, the sky was no longer empty. Satellites unfolded like blooming flowers, their cores glowing with lethal energy. 𝗕𝗲 snarled. They're just machines. We can fight. The first beam lanced down from the heavens. It missed the dagger by meters, carving a molten canyon across the Martian plain. The second didn't miss. A crewman vaporized mid-scream. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 didn't give the order to run. He didn't need to. The survivors bolted for the ship as the sky turned deadly. The AI's final words echoed in his skull. They left gifts. The 𝗕𝗲𝘀 engines roared to life. They weren't fast enough. The dagger of the void shuddered as another energy beam grazed its hull, sending molten metal spraying across the command deck. Warning sirens wailed. Half the crew was already dead, vaporized in the first salvo or torn apart by the drones that had emerged from Mars ruins like swarms of mechanical locusts. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 gripped the navigation console, his claws digging into the metal. Full thrust. Get us out of the atmosphere. The ship's engines screamed in protest, but they obeyed. The Martian surface shrank beneath them, replaced by the black void of space, and the waiting kill satellites. 𝗕𝗲 wiped blood from his brow, his voice raw. They're hurting us. He was right. The weapons fire had stopped. The drones had broken off. But the path ahead was clear, a single corridor of open space leading away from Mars, bracketed on all sides by dormant orbital platforms. A gauntlet. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's stomach turned. This wasn't a retreat. It was a demonstration. The first satellite activated as they passed it. No weapons fired. Instead, it projected a hologram, a human figure, clad in armor that shimmered like liquid mercury. Its face was hidden behind a smooth, featureless visor. 𝗲𝗲 vessel. The voice was calm, almost amused. You are the 4217th unauthorized incursion into Sol System territory. Would you like to know what happened to the previous 4216? No one answered. The hologram continued. They died. The feed split, showing hundreds of wrecked ships, some ancient, some so fresh their reactors still burned. All of them arranged in precise, concentric rings around the system's outer planets. A monument. 𝗕𝗲's breath came in ragged gasps. There, displaying them. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 understood now. This wasn't just defense. It was a message. A warning carved into the bones of anyone foolish enough to ignore it. The hologram tilted its head. Turn back now, and you will be allowed to leave. Proceed further, and you will become part of the exhibit. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 hesitated. Then he made his choice. Plot a course for the edge of the system. Maximum burn. The crew didn't argue. They'd seen enough. The dagger hurtled toward the system's boundary, its engines pushed past safety limits. For a moment, it seemed they might actually escape. Then the second satellite activated. This one didn't speak. It simply fired. The beam sheared through the 𝗕𝗲𝘀 port thrusters, sending the ship into a violent spin. Alarms shrieked. Atmosphere vented from a dozen breaches. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 clung to his chair as the artificial gravity failed, his body slamming against the ceiling. 𝗕𝗲 wasn't so lucky. A jagged piece of shrapnel caught him in the chest, pinning him to the wall. Blood bubbled from his lips as he choked out a laugh. Should've listened. 𝗕𝗁𝘁 didn't answer. He was too busy watching the feed from the external cameras. Something was moving in the darkness beyond Pluto. Something big. The Dagger's dying systems struggled to resolve the image. At first it looked like a star, a tiny, distant pinprick of light. Then it grew. And grew. By the time 𝗕𝗁𝘁 realized what he was seeing, it was too late. The structure was massive. A perfect sphere, its surface shifting like mercury, fractal patterns flickering across its skin. It dwarfed planets. Dwarfed stars. A Dyson construct. But not the kind built to harvest energy. This was something else. The last transmission from the dagger was short. Just 5 words, screamed over an open channel as the sphere's surface rippled, revealing a yawning maw of pure darkness. They're still in there. Then the feed cut out. The silence in the Galactic Council chambers was absolute. The last transmission from the Dagger of the Void played on loop, 𝗕𝗁𝘁's final scream dissolving into static. The holographic display showed Sol System's border, unchanged, undisturbed, as though no ship had ever crossed it. Counselor 𝗕𝗀𝘀 was the first to speak. We withdraw all patrols from the quarantine zone. Immediately. No one objected. Then the lights flickered. Every screen in the chamber activated simultaneously, displaying the same image, a humanoid figure with a featureless silver face. Its voice emerged from every speaker in perfect synchronization, speaking flawless Kralltongue. You have seen. Ambassador 𝗕l of the Zythian Collective recoiled, her tendrils curling in instinctive fear. What are you? The figure tilted its head. We were humanity. Now we are more. The display changed, showing the Dyson sphere, alive, shifting, vast beyond comprehension. Your species has reached the stars. This is your first mistake. The chamber erupted in panic. Security forces raised weapons. Scientists demanded scans. Politicians shouted over each other in a dozen languages. The figure waited. When silence returned, it continued. Humanity left physical existence behind. But we did not abandon our home. The display zoomed in on the sphere's surface, revealing countless identical silver figures standing motionless, an army of billions, waiting. Sol System is under our protection. Cross the border again, and you will learn why humanity never needed to conquer the stars. Counselor 𝗕𝗀𝘀 found his voice. We meant no offense. We will honor the quarantine. You will do more than that. The figure stepped closer through the screen. You will tell others. You will spread the warning. Because next time, we will not stop at your ships. The display changed again, showing every inhabited world in the Galactic Council. Next time, we come for your homes. The transmission ended. For a long moment, no one moved. Then, with trembling hands, Counselor 𝗕𝗀𝘀 input the new standing orders into the Galactic Datanet. The words appeared on every screen in known space. Sol System is forbidden. Humanity sleeps. Do not wake them. ****. Somewhere beyond the edge of civilized space, the Dyson sphere completed another slow rotation. Its surface shimmered. Waiting. Watching. The warning spread across the galaxy like radiation from a dying star. Within cycles, every major species had seen 𝗕𝗁𝘁's final transmission. Within decacycles, the first pilgrim ships appeared at the border of Sol System, not to cross, but to witness. To confirm the horror for themselves. The viewing posts multiplied. First dozens, then hundreds, all maintaining perfect distance from the quarantine line. Their sensors strained toward that ominous sphere beyond Pluto, recording every fluctuation in its impossible structure. The data streams became the most valuable commodities in known space. A new religion formed among the scavenger clans, the cult of the sleeping giants. They modified their ships with human iconography, hoping to appease whatever lurked in the dark. Their priests preached that humanity had become gods, and that the sphere was their heaven. Then the transmissions began. Not from the sphere. From inside it. The first signal bled through on a Zythian research vessel. Just 3 words, repeating in perfect galactic common. We see you. Panic erupted. Ships scrambled to increase their distance. The cult proclaimed it a blessing. Scientists demanded more data. Then the second transmission came, this time in ancient Earth languages no living being could comprehend. The words were different, but the meaning was clear. Something was awake. Something was watching. The sphere's surface rippled. Fractal patterns shifted faster. The viewing posts recorded energy spikes that defied known physics. A Krall warship, pushed too far by its desperate crew, inched forward across the border. Just a meter. Just to test. It ceased to exist before it could retreat. The galaxy held its breath. Counselor 𝗕𝗲𝘀 convened an emergency session. "We must understand what they want," he insisted, mandibles clicking in distress. As if summoned, every screen in the chamber activated. The silver figure returned, its blank face somehow more terrible than before. "You misunderstand." The display changed. Not to show the sphere, but the galaxy entire, with hundreds of new markers pulsing at the edges of explored space. "We were never just in Sol." The markers brightened. One by one. "We were waiting. We were learning. Now we begin." The transmission ended. On the border of Sol system, the sphere pulsed once. Then vanished. The disappearance of the Sol Dyson sphere sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Every species mobilized their fleets. Every government convened emergency councils. The viewing posts became ghost stations, their instruments trained on empty space where the sphere had been. Then the first colony went dark. A Zythian farming whirled on the edge of the Perseus arm. No distress call. No warning. One moment their orbital platforms reported normal operations, the next, silence. When scout ships arrived, they found the planet intact but empty. Cities stood pristine. Crops grew untended. Not a single body remained. The only clue, a single line of text burned into every view screen planet-wide. "We have what we need." Within hours, similar reports came from Krall mining outposts, Vor research stations, even isolated scavenger fleets. Always the same pattern. No destruction. No resistance. Just disappearance. And always those same words. The galaxy realized its mistake too late. Humanity hadn't been guarding Sol system out of fear or isolation. They'd been studying. The cult of the sleeping giants declared it the Great Harvest. Their priests claimed the Taken would be reborn as gods. Their followers volunteered in droves, broadcasting surrender codes into the void. They vanished like the others. Military forces tried fighting back. The Krall's 7th Battle Fleet surrounded one of the marker systems from the transmission. They lasted 17 minutes before their ships winked out of existence, one by one. The final transmission showed a Krall admiral screaming at something off-screen before the feed dissolved into static and those familiar words. "We have what we need." Panic became pandemonium. Governments collapsed. Civilizations fractured. Some species launched themselves into black holes rather than face whatever was coming. Then, as suddenly as it began, the disappearances stopped. The galaxy waited. Nothing came. A full cycle passed. Then the first ship returned. Not a human vessel. Not a Dyson sphere. A Zythian farming barge, identical to those lost a year before. Its crew went about their duties as if nothing had happened. When questioned, they showed no memory of their disappearance. Medical scans revealed impossible changes. Enhanced neural structures. Unknown organelles in every cell. And when pressed about humanity, they all said the same thing. "They're waiting for you to understand." More ships returned. More colonies reappeared. Always changed. Always carrying the same message. On the 1-year anniversary of the sphere's disappearance, every returned individual stopped simultaneously, looked up, smiled, and spoke in perfect unison. "We're ready to talk now." The transmission originated from everywhere at once. Sol system remained empty. The Dyson sphere never reappeared. But humanity's voice echoed through the stars.